Good afternoon, Jerron.
Good afternoon.
I understand that you are the Special Assistant to the President and also Director of Urban Affairs and Revitalization.
That's correct.
Let me ask you a question. As a Director of Urban Affairs, is there an urban agenda in this administration?
Well, it's been no secret that the President's very focused on creating jobs, even in the most distressed communities across this country. And yes, there's a specific focus on urban areas, focusing on opportunity, empowerment, and safety.
Now, you're from the east side of Cleveland, right?
Yes.
How has being from the east side of Cleveland shaped your opinion about what an urban agenda should look like?
Well, in my experience in Cleveland, a lot of the communities that I've grown up around and grown up in haven't changed regardless of who was president. That's why I thought it was important to work with President Trump, because he's committed to helping the least advantaged and get opportunity through jobs and empowerment.
And so in the east side of Cleveland, there was a lot of poverty and there was a lot of unemployment. Is that what you experienced growing up?
Correct. A lot of the communities, especially the community my family came from, the Huff area, some of those areas still look the same from the riots of the 60s. And then my community specifically, I had 3 friends I grew up with who died through gun violence 3 years ago. And so creating safety and opportunity and revitalizing blighted communities is something the President's very focused on. And I've had the honor of working here and helping him work through his proposals in those areas.
So we could look at the urban agenda for this administration being shaped around dealing with issues of joblessness and crime and other issues that affect urban communities. That's
Correct.
What you're working on here.
Correct.
Let me talk to you about some positive news.
Sure.
The Washington Post, quoting the Bureau of Labor Statistics, stated that unemployment for Black Americans is the lowest ever on record. Certainly a fantastic accomplishment. But white unemployment is 3.7%, still about half of what Black unemployment is. What is the plan in the urban agenda to ensure that we can balance out the joblessness between white Americans and Black Americans?
Sure. So most jobs that come for individuals comes through small businesses. In Black community, the number of Black startups is low, and it's continued to decrease over the last few years, especially after the recession. And so we're very focused on creating access to capital. In the recent tax law, the President focused on having the Invested in Opportunity Act as a part of that legislation. What that act will do is create more access to capital for some of those small businesses. And so we'll have more resources going to blighted communities to start small businesses and create jobs for individuals. The President is very focused on keeping this commitment with creating jobs in every area, no matter what zip code.
So in the tax reform plan, there is actually a specific plan to help urban communities. Opportunity zones is called, correct?
Correct.
So I want to take you through this. So we've had enterprise zones, which are tax incentives to businesses, larger corporations. They're responsible, for example, in New Jersey for the Garden State, Jersey Garden Mall, and New York City, big box corporation, retail. Then we have hub zones, and hub zones are in specific urban centers that allow small businesses to have preference with doing business with the government. Now we have opportunity zones, and what are those?
Well, a lot of the language that we've used over the past, they sound good on paper, but what you end up dealing with is a lot of confusion and regulations that makes it harder for the average person to access opportunity and access capital. The difference with the opportunity zones is going to be a seamless way for individuals, minorities, Hispanic, low-income communities to pool capital and actually help revitalize the communities they come from by working with their neighbors next door who may want to be interested in starting a business. Also brings people with resources, billionaires, to the table and be able to move some of that capital in some of those areas to help some of these small businesses.
Well, it sounds like there's an infusion of capital into urban areas under the opportunity zones.
Correct.
How long before we see these opportunity zones implemented?
We're hoping this spring.
Wow.
So Treasury's been working really hard on mobilizing the implementation of the whole tax bill, and we're hoping to have a release sometime this spring. And so we'll hear more about it. Look forward to announcing that to the American people, and then also using our platform, the President's platform, to show different ways that we can bring communities together on the federal, state, and local level, along with business owners. You know, he has a lot of relationships and he's had a lot of experience cutting deals and showing results. And so he's going to use some of that intuition that he's had in the private sector, bring it to the federal, and help empower people in some of these blighted communities.
Well, good. I look forward to hearing more about this. Jerron Smith, fellow member of Alpha Phi Alpha, like I am. Good man.
Amen.
Thank you so much for this.
Thanks so much.